and tell us your name.
My name is Taryn. Again, I am the show coordinator at City Career Fair. We're based out of Los Angeles.
Okay, now tell us about what City Career Fair is all about. What is its motivation, its mission?
Well, we hold about 30 career fairs in major cities nationwide. So everywhere from like San Diego to Seattle, New York, of course Phoenix today, all over the place, Chicago, Boston, etc. And we ask the mayor in each city to proclaim it Diversity Employment Day. And what we're really looking for is we're looking to basically get the employers that are looking for diverse candidates with the diversity. So we're kind of the middle person, we're getting them all together. And we're looking for, for the major employers, we're trying to get them to get connected, in other words, with all the diversity groups. So that would mean folks from multicultural backgrounds, women, people with disabilities, veterans, the LGBTQ community, and mature workers, of course. Mm-hmm.
So you're truly looking for diversity, and I know in a world like today, with the job market the way that it is, people feel very intimidated, especially if they might be someone who's been downsized, they may have been terminated for a job, not because of performance, who knows, there's a variety of reasons. How does something like this actually put somebody at ease when it comes to being out there and thinking, man, I got a chance not only to find something that I want to be doing, but to be paid well enough to make a living?
Right. Well, I think that we try really hard to provide a wide range, so we have everything from entry level to professional level. So just for example, some of the folks that are out there, we've got, Wells Fargo, we've got construction, we've got USPS, we got Department of the Interior, Hacienda Healthcare, just a wide range of things, so that when people go in there, they feel like there's a little something for everybody type of thing, no matter your skill level or your age or whatever. Also, I think that if you're a prepared candidate, that's a big deal too. If you come and you have a little spiel about yourself, you've got your resume in hand, you're dressed professionally, and you've got a big smile on your face, that's going to make you stand out from the crowd. So that would be, my best advice. And I think that if you're prepared, that would take away some of that worry and anxiety. And also knowing that that's what they signed up for. They are here specifically looking for those candidates.
Now, how does this differ as far as the approach versus somebody who answers an ad that's put out there by a company?
Well, I think the face-to-face part, if that's what you mean, makes a huge difference. Again, I use myself as an example because I'd been looking for months. And I go to this one career fair and boom, I have a job. So I think it makes a huge difference instead of, I know with all the technology, we're like very, email everything and apply online, but you end up just being a piece of paper is really all you are. So you're a digital file, and then this way people really get to shake your hand, they get to get a vibe, a sense of who you are, and then, from there they can choose who they think best fits the position that way. And I think they end up hiring a lot more through this than they do through their other, means of hiring. So I think it's been pretty successful so far.
So it sounds like it's really nice for people to actually approach looking for work through career fairs we're talking about.
Face-to-face, yeah.
Because of a couple of reasons. A, you bypass the technology and the piece of paper and the number.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is you're face-to-face, so maybe you're not the person they're looking for at that moment, but now you've got a connection with somebody who might know somebody.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and talk about the advantages of that.
Yeah, the advantages of that is that if you've now made that connection, now they have a face to go with the name, and then you're not in a pile of resumes. They're probably going to take that resume and put that in another pile. So even if it's not a position that they're hiring for maybe at that moment or that day or that time, there could be something they have in mind for that person, later down the line. We also go out of our way to make sure that each candidate registers with us, so that when perhaps they're looking later, they can always come to us and we have all of those on file, and we can say, okay, we've got a list of candidates here for you that were at that career fair that would be interested in that position, or, so we help even connect them after. So I think it's a big benefit that way as well.
Okay. How long is the City Career Fair? When did it actually start, and how many are there?
There are about 30 career fairs per year. And it was about 20 years ago when they started the business. And again, we're in all major cities across the nation, and we're looking into adding even more shows in more cities. We visit Phoenix specifically twice a year. So we come twice a year, about every 6 months.
Mm-hmm. What would you like to tell the person who seems to be seasoned or mature, if you will?
I would say that they probably need to know that, if they're not already aware, that the unemployment rate is pretty low. So it makes the employers pretty desperate in finding candidates, meaning that they're more open to the idea of a mature worker. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, they have more life experience, which often, hey, let's face it, sometimes if you don't have the, actual job experience, that life experience really comes in handy. It gives people, I think, a little bit of an edge, so to speak. I mean, in my opinion anyway. I'd rather hire somebody who's got a little more experience than somebody who doesn't have any, because then you have to train them from scratch. And I don't think they have the same work ethic. So I think that that's a benefit for a mature worker as well.
So when we define mature worker, obviously you know that we've been producing a show called Beyond 50. It's for the active lifestyle, for people who are actually approaching or moving beyond 50. And we hear a lot this day and age, especially in mainstream news, about what seems to be age discrimination. How do you think this creates an advantage for people who have that fear but want to feel enthused and actually inspired to know they've actually got a better chance of what they perceive is going on out there when it comes to finding and looking for work or even careers?
I think that as long as they come in prepared with something, I would say like a little 1-minute blurb maybe about themselves, I think that would be the best way to prepare, because they're going to make that connection based off of their skills, their life experience, and the connection that they make with the employers. I don't think that they should feel nervous at all, and as long as they talk to everybody, I would say that that's probably one of my biggest challenges, is getting everyone to connect with everybody. So when they come out and they've just made a quick round and they come out and say, oh, well, I didn't find, what I was looking for, or, nobody wants to talk to me, or, I hear all these different, comments from different people, I almost 9 times out of 10 get them a position, because what it is they'll walk by. Oh, it's the police department. I don't want to, I don't want to be a police officer. Or, oh, it's, healthcare. I'm not a doctor, whatever the case may be. That's just not true. If you go, you will find, if you speak to them, they're usually hiring for all sorts of things, clerical, retail, things that you could just easily have transferable skills. I think for a mature worker, they have transferable skills. So whatever that skill set is, likely it will fit in with some of those open positions that they're looking for. And I think that they can find a good fit here. And again, because that is what they're prepared to do. They signed up for this because they're looking for that. So I would feel like they could come in here feeling very confident that they could find a position.
So it sounds very exciting, and as I'm hearing from you, inspiring from people to realize you may not have the experience, or as you said, there's a perception. Mm-hmm. Police department, oh, I'm not a police officer. Hospital, I'm not a doctor. Construction,
and they just walk right by.
I'm not an engineer, and they walk right by.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to stop and say, did you ever realize that you could actually be an advisor to a team to inspire them all to work well together because of who you are?
Absolutely.
So it sounds like experience is important, but it's not as important as the life experience you're actually looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. I think that those are transferable skills. Again, we use that term because it really is transferable. There's a lot of things that maybe life has taught you, or things you've gone through, or, maybe they've done things that we don't really do anymore, so to speak. They may have been jobs that are just no longer really valid, but whatever the skills are that they took away from that is something that you can't buy. You can't go to school. You can't, there's just no way. So that's very valuable in my opinion, and that's going to give them an edge on some of these other folks in here as well, Mm-hmm.
Now, tell us about some of the employers. Obviously, if you're doing a lot of cities, most of them, if not all of them, throughout the United States, that you're going to have a wide diversity of the kind of employers that are here. Let's talk about the diversity of what people can expect when they come to City Career Fair.
Do you mean like the type of employers that we have? Mm-hmm. There's absolutely a wide variety, very wide. I mean, we've got names that everybody's going to know. You know, sometimes we have sports teams come in. We have a lot of big realty companies come in. We have a lot of healthcare, banks, electrical companies, construction, just tons. And they vary based off of, you know, the area. You know, oftentimes it's local businesses or, you know, whatever is going on in that big city at the time. Here we've got, again, we have Wells Fargo, the post office, and we have a couple of, there's FNF Construction and the healthcare companies out there. There's ABM. I think they have like some sort of a maintenance service there. So there's about 20 employers here today, and it seems to be pretty busy.
Now, what I did notice while I was in there was somebody who seemed to be a staff sergeant for the United States Air Force. So we have military, obviously.
We do have military.
We're approaching midlife here, and, you know, they don't usually recruit people. So
that's true, but that is the perfect example because oftentimes people will walk right by that. But if you look at their open positions, oftentimes they will have things that are, you know, a clerical type of position, an office type of position. So you're not signing up for the military, which, again, I was guilty of doing when I walked through the career fair myself. You know, I would walk through past, I think it was a police department, and I thought, oh, well, I don't want to be a police officer. That's just not my thing, you know. However, when I went around a second time, I found that they had a list of all kinds of different, you know, positions, whether they be administrative or whatnot. And I found the same thing with, well, it's listed as Department of Interior, but it's actually Fish and Wildlife. So that's another thing. You know, people think that they just hire, you know, park rangers or what have you, and that's just not the case. So in other words, that's probably my best top advice to both candidates and employees. You know, it's like talk to everybody. You have to, because otherwise you're missing out on an opportunity.
Not to mention, too, from what I'm hearing from you today, Taryn, is this. Because you're suggesting that people talk to everybody, is that if you do this, you might uncover some gold in a life path that you probably would have never thought of.
Absolutely.
How often do you see that happen?
All the time.
Give us a good idea of a story or two, if you can, about something like that.
You know, let me think of something off the top of my head here. I think I had, it was a lady. I think we were in Dallas. Yeah, I think we were in Dallas, and there was a lady that came in, and she said, oh, I drove an hour. I can't find any clerical positions. You know, I just don't know what to do. And she seemed a little frustrated. So I actually went through our job positions, and I ran them by her, and I said, do any of these, do you think they'd apply to you? And I walked her in, and I made some introductions to some companies that I thought she might click well with, or, you know, that some of the positions might fit. And, you know, she came out about 20 minutes later, and she said that she felt like she'd made several good connections, and that she had already scheduled an interview, I believe. They will schedule, most of the employers will schedule like a second interview type of thing, or they interview on the spot here. So that's also a good thing because, you know, you can leave knowing that there's actually going to be some sort of follow-up versus just dropping a resume. You never just want to drop a resume and run, because you likely will not get any callback or follow-up that way. So again, I think people taking the time to talk to everybody and giving a little spiel about yourself before you leave your resume with somebody really makes a huge difference. It's going to make you stand out.
Give us an idea or some suggestions when you talk about giving a spiel, or let's call it an elevator speech, that you would suggest people can consider thinking about as part of that elevator speech, what they should say, what they should offer as far as information, things like that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, of course you want to introduce, you know, yourself, maybe mention a few things that, you know, maybe personal things even, you know, something that you like to do or something you're interested in or the position you're looking for. That sort of, you know, breaks the ice a little bit. And then I would probably give a little bit of I would say more like a 1-minute presentation, including a summary of your skills. Because again, they're probably not going to stand there and read your whole resume, so you might as well just give them the highlights. And then I think probably common sense, depending on what position it is or what company, you can highlight, especially for a mature worker. If you have a lot of experience, you're just going to want to pull the highlights of whatever you think may apply to that particular company. If it's electrical and you may have done something down the line at some point that you think may apply to that, then by all means highlight that. Because if you don't, again, you may just end up in a pile of resumes.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds to me what you're truly saying, as well as what they're looking for, especially in the mature worker, the diverse worker, is not necessarily that you have a skill set, but that you're capable of coming in and solving problems in a very unique way. And that's really what they want to find at a place where they're looking for diversity and they're looking for maturity in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Rather than just, boy, you're really good at putting a hammer to a nail and building a house, for instance.
Right, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, since you've been doing this, has been one of the most inspiring stories that you could probably share with the listeners today?
I think I get inspired all the time, actually.
Especially somebody who might have had a disability. They thought they were just out of the game. Or
absolutely.
Talk about the LGBT community, and how they feel like they're out of the game. I mean, there's a lot of disadvantages, but it seems like the perception is just that it's actually a lot more inspiring than people think.
Right. I think that it just a whole bunch of them just came to mind. Sorry. There was one gentleman who had a really hard time seeing. He was pretty much blind, and we walked him through, and boy, was he frustrated when he first came in. Oh, I went to this other career fair, and I nobody wanted to talk to me, and it was very sad, actually. And when you can turn that around into something positive, or have him make a connection with somebody, or even get him hired on the spot, that is an amazing feeling. It really is. And things like that happen all the time. They come in, and it's a personal thing for me. I find it a challenge. If they come to me and, hey, I didn't find anything, or I didn't find anything, or I didn't make any connections, or I feel like no one's going to hire me, or anything like that. If I hear anything negative, I take it as a challenge to make a connection for them or an introduction.
That's okay. So finally, Taryn, tell us where potential people who are interested in City Career Fair can find out more information about this.
They can go to our website. It's www.citycareerfair.com. We do have a job board there. We have city pages, so we have a page dedicated to each city that we go to, so that way it's easy to find the information. There's a link to register for our career fairs there, and there's also a free job board. So that's actually accessible to both candidates and employers for free.
Okay. Any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I just really think that I would like to mention that we also conduct workshops. Oftentimes we'll have things like resume reviews, meaning that we'll have someone set up to do resume reviews before they even go in there, so that they're even more prepared, and I feel like that's really helpful, because they can really take advantage of the opportunity here. I mean, we've had people come in with like 27 pages resume. I mean, that's just not going to work, So, but it is helpful. It has somebody who's professional who can look it over, and they say it in the right way, and they help them, reword or narrow it down, or whatever the case may be. And I think it gives them a boost of confidence as well. So it really seems to work out.
So it sounds like the website tells everything everybody wants to know about where, when, possibilities, and what you need to be prepared for. Go ahead and give that out for our listeners again one more time.
The website is www.citycareerfair.com.